All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Jerron Ennis, is he now the boogeyman of 147 pounds? There are a trainer that I talk to on a regular basis, and a lot of fans are pushing up on me in the comment section saying that Jerron Ennis is being ducked by Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford. Let's talk about the truth or the falseness of that statement in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So we got a new up-and-coming fighter who I think is going to be an absolute superstar in the sport. I think he's probably one of the best fighters in boxing right now. And I'm saying that now, despite him not having, the quote-unquote resume that other fighters have. We're talking about Jaron Boots Ennis out of the great city of Philadelphia, the great state of Pennsylvania. He had a fight this weekend with Thomas Delorme, which was an absolute whitewash. He blows through Thomas Delorme. And if you recall the video that I did beforehand about this fight, I said that depending on how Jerron Ennis looks with Thomas Delorme, it will tell me whether or not he should be considered one of the best welterweights and whether or not he is ready for Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. And what I thought was going to happen, happened. Jerron Ennis blows through Thomas Delorme in one round. Probably the best thing for Thomas Delorme that he got him out of that quick and didn't torture the dude and beat him up too bad. But Jerron Ennis just showed in that short amount of time how much higher a level of fighter than he was than Thomas Delorme. And I'm telling you right now, and I think that it's very reasonable to say this, that Jerron Ennis is a top welterweight, and he absolutely positively is ready for Errol Spence Jr. He's ready for Terence Crawford. He's ready for Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, and the rest of these guys. And I say that because, number one, I don't see anybody that is other than those top guys doing anything with Jerron Ennis. I think he's just beyond those dudes who are a level above the top. And I think at this point in time, he is as competitive a fight for those top guys as any other of the top guys. I really do believe he belongs there. Now, does that mean, like I've been told by my friend and also been told by a lot of people that are Jerron Ennis supporters, and there's nothing wrong with that because I'm a big time fan of Jerron Ennis, and I understand where people are coming from. And honestly, I do believe also of the promoter, Lou DiBella, said that these guys are going to avoid Jerron Ennis, and that Jerron Ennis is going to get ducked. First, let's take Terence Errol Spence Jr. and the idea that Errol Spence Jr. is ducking Terence Crawford, or will be ducking Jerron Ennis. I'm not buying it. Errol Spence Jr. There's nothing I've seen in Errol Spence Jr. that has said that he has been afraid or he's been that he's willing to sidestep competition. First of all, if he was the type of guy that was going to be iffy about fighting top-notch competition, he would not have jumped in there with Danny Garcia coming off of that car accident. He would have fought somebody else, got a couple paydays like a lot of other fighters do, and built himself back up slowly and then got in there with another top-level guy. I don't believe that Errol Spence Jr. is going to duck Jerron Ennis. But however, at the same time, I don't think that Errol Spence Jr. at this point in time has a reason to fight Jerron Ennis. Errol Spence Jr. is on a track that is the track that you want to be when you're a champion, which is to get all of the major championship belts. And what he said was, now that he's a champion, he's going to try to work himself through the other champions and then get his hands on all the belts. So with him having a fight, eyeing a fight with for the WBA belt, however that goes with Jerron Ennis and all those guys, or trying to get Terence Crawford for the WBO championship, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And that's not ducking Jerron Ennis. Now, if Jerron Ennis wound up becoming a mandatory for Errol Spence Jr. like Jerron Ennis said that he's considering doing, or that that he's in position to do, really, because he's the number 3 with the IBF, and the IBF actually orders that fight. And then Errol Spence Jr. I wouldn't see Errol Spence Jr. dropping that belt in order to fight for 2 other belts, since he's got the WBC. I can't envision Errol Spence Jr. doing that. So I think Jerron Ennis is actually in a very good position as far as as far as it relates to getting a fight with Errol Spence Jr. I just think that Errol Spence Jr. is going to set his sights on getting all the belts before that. Now, somebody may say, well, if he collects all the belts and then he moves up to 154 pounds and he leaves Jerron Ennis there, that is a possibility that he may do that. I can't say that if he's got a bigger payday, but I think that's pretty much a bridge that you got to cross, when you get there, when we get there. But there's nothing that I've seen out of Errol Spence Jr. that tells me that he's going to run away from Jerron Ennis. And that includes thinking that Jerron Ennis is going to beat him. I do, on the other hand, think that those other guys like Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, those type of guys, I think that they're going to completely stay clear of Jerron Ennis because they got every chance in the world of losing, and that's going to keep those guys from ever getting another shot at a champ. It's going to keep them from getting a shot at another championship. So those guys, I completely see them ducking him and not fighting him. Terence Crawford, I see Terence Crawford not fighting him. And the reason that I say that is because of what Terence Crawford did with Sean Porter. Terence Crawford was forced to fight Sean Porter, and he said when Sean Porter started calling him out, tried to get the fight with him, he said, look, yeah, if you get yourself in a position to be a mandatory, then I'll fight you as a mandatory. So Terence Crawford not being willing to fight Sean Porter as a voluntary, and really I do believe having his eye on a Keith Thurman fight after this, Terence Crawford, I think that Jerron Ennis would have to do something above and beyond something exceptional in order to get a fight with Terence Crawford. And that's not me saying that I think Terence Crawford is afraid of Jerron Ennis or that he doesn't think that he can beat Jerron Ennis. It's not that for me. It's just the history of Terence Crawford, and specifically the recent history with Terence Crawford and the fact that he wouldn't fight Sean Porter as a mandatory. Now, most likely what's going to happen with Jerron Ennis is that Jerron Ennis is probably not going to get these. It's probably not going to get an Errol Spence Jr. fight. He's probably not going to get a Terence Crawford fight. He's probably going to have to take over the division after those guys, work out undisputed, and they may be over there at 154 pounds. And like, for example, I know that Errol Spence Jr. at some point in time said, that he didn't know that he was here for a good time. He ain't here for a long time. And I know that Errol Spence Jr. himself has his eyes on, and this is coming out of his camp, on published, things that he said, that he is looking to try to get a Canelo Alvarez fight. And so that might be a direction after he solidifies 147 where Errol Spence would try to go do that. I don't see, however, with Terence Crawford, as long as he keeps fighting, it's going to be a hard time for him to avoid Jerron Ennis and not come off like he's ducking, because I don't really think Terence Crawford's got the bandwidth to go up to 154 pounds. But anyway, this is a really beautiful conversation to be had. And I'm really, really happy that we've got Jerron Ennis and that he's proven that he's that level of fighter, because some of these guys at the top of 147 are kind of going away in the later stages of their career. Those guys are obviously, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, and Keith Thurman. And to have the young guys coming up like Jerron Ennis, Virgil Ortiz, some people are saying Nigel Benn, Nigel Benn's son, Conor Benn. I don't particularly see it, but to have these guys bubbling up in that weight class in a money weight division in a very, historically rich division like the welterweight division, I think is a great thing. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.